Just talking musicals with you.
And of course, I have to go back to your moment in Company, because
Yeah.
what that must have been fantastic. What was your first night doing
Oh,
that? Like,
goodness.
because everything was fantastic. The set was amazing. Everything, it was so cleverly done, wasn't it?
So cleverly done. I mean, Marianne is one of the cleverest directors on the planet, really. She's incredible, and we were all so excited and so proud to share it. I I I mean, it was mad because Sondheim was in the audience, but he'd been in our previews anyway. So we were having little notes filtered through, or we'd be in like dress runs and he'd be in the auditorium making notes and they'd get passed through to us.
Did you dread his notes?
I did. I did, because I just didn't want to let him down. That was it. And I just thought, oh, Christ, please be okay, please be okay. And the thing is with Steve is that he's very harsh. You know, he doesn't beat around the bush, and especially not at his age or his experience or his level of genius. He just tells you like it is. So they're hurtful notes, you know. So you have to be careful with them. So they get filtered through to Marianne and then pass through to us. So they didn't just basically send us off spinning that way, going, "Oh my God, I can't do it." But Marianne is incredible because she notes you so well that you actually are thinking mainly about playing the notes rather than the event itself. Because if I think that first show, I sort of couldn't believe it was happening. I was like, this isn't, you know, we can't go back from here. Like, this is making history. But I didn't think of it like that at the time, because obviously we're going, oh my God, that piece of set's got to move there. And we'd been so well rehearsed and we knew it inside out. But when I came to sing Being Alive, and I didn't even get to the end and the audience were up on their feet, I think I just burst into tears. I was like, and Marianne came to into notes the next day, and she just said, she was noting, she was very calm, like, we'd had a great show, but we've got to build on this, and you know, don't let, that was the first preview, that audiences are very kind. But then she got to that bit and she just went, I'll never forget it. She just said, that when the audience got up, she was up on herself going, "Yes, Rosie, come on," like that. It's like a football match. And I was like, oh, I'm so pleased, you know, because it felt like that, you know, whatever happened on the job and whatever sadness I have about some areas of that, and I'll always have that moment.
Yeah.
That was just incredible, and I'm so lucky that I got to be the first female Bobby. I have no idea how I got that fortunate. It was a gift, and I'm very grateful for it, and I would gladly play that part for the rest of my life. I really would. I had the best time on it. It was quite lonely because you don't get to have all the interaction with the rest of the cast, really, because you're constantly out that way and they're having their fun together. But that's what Bobby is, you know. Bobby is, Patty always said to me, he is on the outside the whole time, and they get to do all the stuff. Essentially, she's a narrator of the piece almost, and then with massive songs in between. But it was an incredible time, that. So yeah, and the Gielgud is just,
It's a beautiful theatre, isn't it?
stunning and
Yeah.
stunning to play. I luckily just finished The Ferryman, so I knew how to. I felt like I was ahead, you know. I was
Yeah.
like, why would I not go and do The Ferryman? I can get used to the whole theatre before I play it, you know, and play an amazing, completely different piece of theatre there beforehand.
It's funny with Company and changing the main character, because you've probably talked about this a million times, but I remember when I read that there was going to be a woman playing Bobby, and I thought, okay. And it was when,
Yeah,
it's 2 years ago now, and everything is changing, and everybody's changing roles, and you think, well, sometimes it just does. You've got to face it. It doesn't always work,
that's true.
and you question whether the person who wrote it really wanted it like that. But when you've got the person who wrote it who's sitting wherever they are in the theatre, and they're going along with this fantastic idea, whether was it his idea to do it or was it Marianne's?
No, it was Marianne's, but I mean, we had to wait for months for him to say yes. Yeah.
but it fits like a glove. It's almost like it was better your way. And I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you. It's just absolutely worked, didn't it? It made complete sense.
Yeah, and I think he felt like that himself. I mean, I think he watched the film that we made for him of the workshop, and he watched it with some younger friends, and they were like, "Stephen, this has to be made. This makes also it turns your sort of vintage piece and it brings it bang up to date, and it couldn't be more now. You know, this is like putting you in cutting edge theatre again without having to do anything, like a couple of rewrites here and there with one of the best directors in the world. Just do it, you know." And he was like, I think he was so in love with Marianne, he would have just let her do whatever he wanted, you know. And who isn't? She is who she is for a reason. So to have his blessing, but also for him to say at the end of that first preview, he said, "I never understood Bobby before, Rosie, but I understand Bobby now." And he said, and I know we were having drinks in the bar, and then he said, "Bobby should have always been a woman. Now I know Bobby should have always been a woman." I was like, but Stephen, you know, back in the day, Bobby had to be a man. Otherwise, you've been like way out there. It would have been like, what is this? But he just went, "Yeah, no, Bobby's a woman." I was just like, and now I die.
It went to the Broadhurst Theatre, and I went over to New York, and one of the guys in the company, Gary Schwartz, said, "Oh, Ted Sperling is conducting, and you should get. She doesn't know you're here. He should conduct for the entr'acte, and then during that, you should just step onto the podium and conduct her." And that's what happened. And I got on the podium, and the orchestra going, "What? Who's this? Who's this guy? What's this?" And the moon, and I could hear the smile in the voice, you know. And then they went into the wings for Act 2, and she's behind one of the flats doing the Russian scene, and she's shaking her fist at me. And then she said to me, "How long are you here for?" I said, "Oh, a couple of weeks." She said, "Okay, look, I want to see you after the show. Tell he's got the car outside to take you around New York and come back in a couple of hours' time." So many stories, you know. She said, "Look, there's a birthday party on Broadway, and I want you to meet a special friend of mine. So make sure that you're there Saturday night, such and such an address." And I went to this address, and the door opened, and it was opened by Liza Minnelli. Liza Minnelli. It was a birthday party. I forget whose. Was it Armando, which was Cheetah's brother? I can't remember.
Okay.
But I mean, so I just spent the night just talking to Cheetah and Liza Minnelli. And I remember singing a silly song, and oh God, it was just one of those crazy, crazy nights. It was Halloween, as I remember.
Oh, what a night.
That was the special friend that she wanted to meet, you know, so yeah. And I remember I was singing, I ended up I forget how, I think we all got a bit pissed, and I ended up on my knees singing Welsh folk songs to Liza, and she was enthralled.
She loved
it. What is that?
Oh, what a terrific! How did you react when she opened the door?
Well, the first thing I thought was, familiar. Have we worked together? You know, that first kind of, "Oh God, you're familiar. I know you from something." It's just like, I didn't calculate. You know, my brain didn't. And then anyway, it was such a great night. In fact, it was a great. And then I went out to alter the gay bars for Halloween, which is quite something. So it was one of those very memorable times.
Nice big nights.
Just talking musicals with you.